Our Father, who art in heaven, as a body we congregate in this council chambers for the betterment of our fellow citizens, lead us that we may do all things well. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Present.
Mr. Stuchel?
Present.
Mr. Edwards?
Present.
Ms. Hausfeld? Here. Mr. Schildmeyer?
Present.
Mr. Culbertson?
Here.
And Mr. Estep?
Here.
Let the record show that all 7 members are present. Members of council, what is your pleasure on the reading of the minutes of the last meeting?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to dispense with the reading of the last minutes. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Members of council, are there any errors or corrections to the minutes as submitted? Not, the minutes will stand as submitted. We'll move to reports of city officials. Mayor, Mr. Stuchel.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we close out the year with our final council meeting of 2024, I wanted to reflect for a moment on what a great year this was. I am forever grateful for everyone who contributes to making our village such a special place, and it starts with all of you, our citizens, our community volunteers, our incredible employees from the fire, police, recreation, and service departments, our council members, and our village administration here at City Hall. I am thankful for what we've been able to accomplish, and I truly appreciate our awesome team who continually strive to make St. Bernard what it is. I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Auditor, Ms. Brickley.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the table tonight is ordinance number 36, 2024. This is our year-end appropriation ordinance. It has an additional appropriations and decrease in appropriations. The additional appropriations total $172,813.86, which I would guess a lot of that will not even be spent. It's just to cover us to the end of the year. And it decreases the appropriations by $684,681.06. And I ask council to please approve this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Director of Law, Ms. Van Valkenburg.
Thank you. You have before you this evening several ordinances, 2 of which are having their second reading. It's the property maintenance ordinance, also known as the short-term rental ordinance, and the vacant properties ordinance. As I said, they are up for their second readings. I would ask that you also suspend the third reading so those can be passed this evening. You also have before you ordinance number 38, which we discussed at the Committee of the Whole. I did get back word from the state of Ohio. They had no substantive changes to Exhibit A, which I provided you prior to the Committee of the Whole. I did go through and change some of the numbering so that it is more consistent with our current Chapter 1331, which it will replace because it largely it changes several things and adds whole new things that the state required. We do need to come in. Like I said, this was language that was been provided by the state and approved by the state, and I'd like you to pass it tonight by emergency ordinance. I will note, however, I'm sorry, I saw a typo. I didn't catch, Caroline, if you look in the attestation, it refers to ordinance number 30. It should be number 38, so if we could just make that change. And if anyone has any questions, otherwise that concludes my report. Thank you.
Where is that correction?
In the where Caroline's attestation goes, at the bottom. Yeah, and just put a little 0 on top of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Safety and Service Director, Mr. Wardman.
Thank you. Just first off, I got notification from ODOT. If there are any residents planning to travel on the Norwood Lateral tonight, there will be lane closures both eastbound and westbound between the Reading and Montgomery Road exits. I think they're keeping one lane open both ways, but there will be some lane closures, so thought that might be of interest to some residents. Next, I wanted to follow up and let council know that we unfortunately were not successful in our OPWC grant application that I referenced in a couple previous meetings for resurfacing portions of Tower in Washington in the latest grant cycle. We'll continue to work to try to find grant dollars to assist with paving roads and keeping that work going. There are two pieces of legislation for consideration tonight that kind of originated from me. First is the budget ordinance, and the second is an emergency ordinance to approve the collective bargaining agreement with the police union. I did want to express my thanks to the bargaining committee from the police for their collaborative approach in coming to this agreement. And finally, congratulations to all the public safety personnel who are going to be honored tonight. Thanks in advance to all those city personnel who will be working to deliver the valuable and necessary services to the community over the upcoming holidays. While many of us are at home enjoying family time, I want them to know that their work is appreciated. So that will conclude my report.
Thank you. Tax Administrator, Ms. Helms.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a recap again of November's end-of-month receipts. Tax collection for November of 2024 was $598,469. November of 2024 is up 6.51%, or $36,563 from November of 2023. Refunds for November were $3,043. Delinquent tax collected with capital recovery was $1,093. Delinquent tax collected with the Ohio Attorney General's office was $3,916. The tax revenue for 2024 will be roughly $12.4 million. I will have the final numbers in January of 2025. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. We'll move to reports of standing committees. Finance, Mr. Morton.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have the 2025 budget in front of council tonight, rounding out a year of ordinances regarding our village finances. I want to thank our Safety Service Director, Tim Wordman, Mayor Jonathan Stuchel, and Auditor Peggy Brickweg for their contributions to putting this budget together. I also want to thank my co-committee members, Councilman Jeff Edwards and Councilman Chris Schildmeyer, for their perfect attendance and effort towards this year's full of Finance Committee meetings. I also want to thank St. Bernard Elmwood Place Assistant Principal, Mr. Trent White, for his eagerness and collaboration towards increasing youth voter registration at the high school. Each student eligible to vote in the upcoming November general election will receive a voter registration form through their government class. Through this initiative, we hope to soon lead the county in youth voter registration. Lastly, I'd like to ask for time on the agenda during the January 9th Committee of the Whole for an Ohio Energy Alliance representative to speak to council on the feasibility of energy aggregation. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Service, Mr. Gus Stuchel.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the waste collection report for the month of November 2024, the Service Department completed the following: 22 dump trucks placed at residents, 24 dumpsters placed at residents, 202 special pickups for residents, 166.6 tons of garbage taken to the landfill, 21.3 tons of recycling materials sent to Rumpke Recycle, 4 carburetors recycled, and 3,140 pounds of scrap metal were recycled. The Service Department would like to share the following updates with residents. Tomorrow, December 20th, will be the last day for leaf collection. After that, please bag your leaves and place them at the curb on your regularly scheduled garbage day. Residential trash collection will not be affected during the week of Christmas, beginning December 23rd, and New Year's beginning December 30th. Business trash collection will be deferred to the next day following December 25th and December 31st. After the holidays, the Service Department will be out with their wood chipper to collect Christmas trees. The service will run for 2 weeks on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Residents wishing to dispose of their trees are encouraged to place them at the curb during these times. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Public Improvements, Mr. Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank the St. Bernard Ludlow Grove Society for presenting another entertaining program and informative program this month. The program was on the holiday trains that started at CG&E in 1948 and has fascinated so many kids during the Christmas season for 75 years. We were told how B&O Railroad started the tradition with a contest for train enthusiasts to build authentic trains and enter to win a prize. Over the years, the exhibit has gotten bigger and bigger and now has moved to the Museum Center. This display will still be open until January 6, 2025, so you still have time to make it a new family tradition if you haven't already. And since it's the last council meeting of the year, I would like to thank all those in our administration, our village employees, and all those volunteers who make our village so special. I would also like to thank our local businesses for being such an important part of our community, and I believe next year will be even a better year for our village. I want to wish everyone in our village a Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. Thank you, Mr. President. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Safety, Ms. Housefeld.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight I have the police activity report for last month. The month of October, the police department had 470 total contacts involving 610 calls for service. There were an additional 358 other services details that were not necessarily called in by the public. These calls for service included 40 total criminal offenses resulting in 78 criminal arrests, 50 traffic citations, as well as 62 traffic warnings. Of all these traffic contacts, 20 were for speeding violations. There were 4 arrests for OVIs also. They responded to 17 accidents, one of which included injuries. We also responded to 27 requests for mutual aid. Under Chief Simos's news and notes, this is a reminder to please lock your vehicles and remove anything of value and or make sure that they are not in plain view. This includes any money or loose change. There has been an increase in this type of criminal activity countywide, and locking your vehicle potentially helps protect you from being a victim and also aids our police department. With this being said, I did ask Chief Simos to answer any questions, any comments, anything like that from not only council but the general public, and he is here if anybody has any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I mean, I can shed some light on this if you'd like, if you have questions. I'm not going to come up here and push blame on victims or try to explain this. I'm not even going to call it a crime wave, this from happening. Bottom line is, zero crime, as unrealistic of a goal as that is, we all share the same goal. The men and women that work for your police department, I would hold against any department in this county. And they will do anything that I ask them to do. And facing what is seemingly a unwinnable task in fighting crime in general, just to let you know, we'll just go back to Thanksgiving. We've had 19 of these type of offenses, 15 of which were unlocked vehicles. And I have begged and pleaded, and it's on our website, and Patty has tried to pass on this message, and I will say that I never grow tired of trying to say it and pass on this message, but the bottom line is, look, I'm a victim too. We take all crime personally, department-wide. It bothers every one of them. And in that sense, we're all victims, but specifically, I've been a victim 2 times. I literally have left my vehicle unlocked 1 time, and since I've been chief, so that's 6+ years. We had an emergency, I had to go home, my mother-in-law fell, run into get out of the truck, go in the house. Long story short, I don't go back to the truck till the next day, and it had been gone through. My house has been broken into while I was not home. So I get it, but it is not due to lack of effort. We have 7 personnel that are crime scene certified. That's 7 out of 19 people. No department has that many people, and it's not that I mandated them to do that. That is strictly their desire to want to better our opportunities to solve crime. That is the only reason these guys do it. It is I'm not going to call it a thankless job, but it is also deals with caustic chemicals, and it's just not a very pleasant side gig on top of patrolling and policing. It takes a special person to want to do this job. It is honestly, without the support of the public and this administration, that support is what helps drive us and pushes us to keep in the fight. We put over 300 miles a day in patrolling on these vehicles. 300 miles a day in St. Bernard. Now, Patty read the traffic numbers, and I will admit they're down for November, but it is because we have been not looking for that and looking for other things. Of these 19 offenses since Thanksgiving, most of them have happened on 2 nights. Now, I've updated Mr. Wordman and subsequently the mayor on what other ideas we've had to try to aid in this battle. But, and I'm not going to try to stand up here and say it's going to get better, and I don't want to scare anyone and tell them that it's not going to get better. But suffice to say, at the risk of alienating our department with the new incoming county prosecutor, I'm hopeful. I've never been more hopeful that I'm wrong about something. Time will tell. But the current judicial system isn't helping us. Of the 2 nights I spoke of, one evening we had 6 incidents. We actually we got the vehicle involved, which ended up being a stolen vehicle from Cheviot. And in so ordering these individuals out of the car, the vehicle takes off. So I know for a fact, because this vehicle was described as letting people out of a car and they're going through cars. So long story short, the vehicle takes off. We can only pursue as far as we can pursue for this. We lost it. We can't. The other night in question was recently. This did involve 2 vehicles that were damaged, windows broken. Doesn't make them any more or less of a victim. The third offense we actually found while searching for these individuals. And I'm not pitting our department against other municipalities that are going through the exact same thing on a much bigger scale. But that same evening, as we're looking for these people, they proceeded to go across Mitchell to Lowry, Wedgwood, Dixon, and smash in at least 15 vehicles the same night. So I'm not saying so. See, it could be worse. That's not what this is about. I'm just telling you what we're up against and how it doesn't dissuade us from fighting the fight. I would ask that everyone call no matter what, because this same night where 3 cars got gone through were damaged. A lady, an individual leaving their residence saw 5 people walking down the middle of the street all in dark clothing. And then upon returning home, 45 minutes later, sees their neighbor's car got broken into. Now, had she called when she saw them 45 minutes earlier, possibly this goes different. Just to let you know, when we process more vehicles and more property than I would say any department out here. We tow them at our expense. When we find these vehicles, we tow them to our PD, process them, again, over and above what any other department would do. When we get fingerprints on the outside of vehicles, we can't get them prosecuted. It makes no sense to anyone on my side of this crime spree or fight against crime. And I'm not here to say everybody should get locked up, and we shouldn't try to rehab everybody. But we can't prosecute them for that. When we do finally get a fingerprint hit or a DNA hit, unknown, so they're in the system, we get a hit, we still have to go find these juveniles to get a fresher known sample. How much sense does that make? None. That's what we're up against. When they do finally go to court, this felony auto theft has been watered down to an unauthorized use misdemeanor. A couple of weeks ago, somebody's phone got taken from broad daylight. This one was from across the street from Wiedemann. Subsequently, we catch 2 kids 15 minutes later. These juveniles, we tell them to stop. I'll just tell you, they refuse to stop. We chase them. Both these kids have ankle monitors on. So, again, nobody's more frustrated by this than we are, but we are doing everything in our power to try to prevent this and to solve this problem. It's happening in Indian Hill, it's happening in Marymount, it's happening in Anderson. BCI's got a task force down here. Bottom line is, zero crime is impossible, and this department is doing a hell of a job in trying to combat this. So that's all I got. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than willing to answer and try to explain. But some of this cannot be explained. I've fought this battle for a long time. So it's not for lack of trying.
Mr. President,
Ms. Housefeld.
I just wanted to thank Chief Stemos for coming and explaining what's going on and to filter any questions if anybody did have any. Also, I wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, and thank you, Chief.
Merry Christmas.
Laws, contracts, and claims, Mr. Schultmeyer.
Mr. President, no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Marketing, Mr. Culbertson.
Thanks, Mr. President. I really don't have anything under marketing, but I would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Business and Industry, Mr. Estep.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank everybody for their support for our Christmas for Needy Kids last week. We collected over 300-something toys, and they'll stay locally to St. Clements, St. Bernard Elmwood Place students. Thanks again. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Committee of the Whole, Ms. Stegman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Minutes for the last meeting were submitted yesterday, the 18th, and I have no communications this evening.
Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to place ordinance number 39 on the table for this evening.
Mr. President,
Mr. Culbertson.
I'd like to make a motion to put ordinance 39 on the table.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Culbertson, seconded by Mr. Estep to place ordinance number 39, 2024 on the table. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. All right, clerk, will you please give the second reading of ordinance number 30, 2024?
Ordinance number 30, 2024, an ordinance adopting Title III, Chapter 1340, registration of vacant residential, commercial, and industrial buildings of the codified ordinances of the Village of St. Bernard, Ohio.
Members of council, you've heard the second reading of ordinance number 30, 2024. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend with the third reading of ordinance number 30, 2024.
Seconded.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Morton, to suspend with the third reading of ordinance number 30. Are there any remarks? All those in favor signify by, or no, clerk, you call the roll on the motion. Make it official.
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Housefeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 30, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to adopt ordinance number 30, 2024. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Housefeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 30, 2024 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the second reading of ordinance number 31, 2024?
Ordinance number 31, 2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 1335, Property Maintenance Code of the Codified Ordinances of the Village of St. Bernard, Ohio.
Members of council, you've heard the second reading of ordinance number 31, 2024. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend with the third reading of ordinance number 31, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to suspend, to suspend with the third reading of ordinance number 31, 2024. Are there any remarks? Clerk, will you call the roll on the motion?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 31, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to adopt ordinance number 31, 2024. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 31, 2024 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the second reading of ordinance number 35, 2024?
Ordinance number 35, 2024, authorizing the solid waste collection fee for residential accounts for the year of 2025 and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the second reading of ordinance number 35, 2024. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend with the third reading of ordinance number 35, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to suspend with the third reading of ordinance number 35, 2024. Any remarks? Clerk, we call the roll on the motion.
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr.
I'd
Schultmeyer.
like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 35, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to adopt ordinance number 35, 2024. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 35, 2024 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the first reading of ordinance number 36, 2024?
Ordinance number 36, 2024, authorizing and directing the auditor to provide additional appropriations and decrease appropriations and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of ordinance number 36, 2024. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 36, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 36, 2024. Are there any remarks? If not, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on ordinance number 36? If not, clerk, will you please call the roll on suspension?
Mr. Morton? Aye. Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 36, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to adopt ordinance number 36, 2024. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 36, 2024 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the first reading of ordinance number 37, 2024?
Ordinance number 37, 2024, an ordinance to make appropriations for expenses and other expenditures of the Village of St. Bernard, State of Ohio during the fiscal year 2025 and establishing new line items and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of ordinance number 37, 2024. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 37, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 37, 2024. Are there any remarks? If not, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on ordinance 37? If not, clerk, will you please call the roll on suspension?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 37, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to adopt ordinance number 37, 2024. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 37, 2024 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the first reading of ordinance number 38, 2024?
Ordinance number 38, 2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 1331 flood damage prevention of the codified ordinances of the Village of St. Bernard, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of ordinance number 38, 2024. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 38, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 38, 2024. Are there any remarks? Not, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on ordinance 38? Not, clerk, we call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 38, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to adopt ordinance number 38, 2024. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 38, 2024 is adopted as read. Clerk, finally, will you give the first reading of ordinance number 39, 2024?
Ordinance number 39, 2024, accepting and approving the terms of employment made between the Village of St. Bernard and the St. Bernard Police Department officers, sergeants, and lieutenants as amended, and declaring the emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of ordinance number 39, 2024. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 39, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 39, 2024. Are there any remarks? If not, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on ordinance 39? If not, clerk, will you please call the roll on suspension?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 39, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, we'll give Ms. Hausfeld one. Seconded by Ms. Hausfeld to adopt ordinance number 39, 2024. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel? Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 39, 2024 is adopted as read. All right, does anyone on council have anything under old business? Not, does anyone on council have anything under new business? Not, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council this evening? If not, the next committee of the whole will be January 9th, Thursday, January 9th at 7 p.m. I guess at this time, Mayor, are you going to bring everybody in before we adjourn, I would assume? I'll turn the meeting over to the mayor as soon as he rounds up everybody.
Try to one.
We'll share. We'll share. It's Christmas time.
cop side?
Second, right here. Yep.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We got a lot of people here, so we're trying to make the best of it we can so we can see it and it can be televised. But this is gonna do a real quick round of introductions for this evening. I'm Fire Chief Brian Young. Police Chief Michael Simos is here somewhere. Where'd he go? There he is. There's Police Chief Michael Simos. This is Mayor Jonathan Stuchel. Director of Public Safety and Service Tim Wordman. Law Director Valerie von Valkenburg. Tax Commissioner Leanne Helms, Auditor Peggy Brickweg, President, Vice Mayor Steve Asbach, and then Clerk of Courts Caroline Stagman. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this in order. I have a totally different order than what we're doing it in. And then we have Councilman Connor Morton, Councilman Gus Stuchel, Councilman Jeff Edwards, Councilwoman Patty Hausfeld, Councilman Chris Schildmeyer, Councilman Ray Culbertson, and Councilman John Estep. I don't think I've forgotten anyone. Okay, so welcome again. Thank you for coming this evening. We're going to do a small swearing-in ceremony. We're going to do a group swearing-in for the fire first. Then we'll do a pinning ceremony, which is traditional with people who get promoted or get a new rank. It's kind of military, so we're going to do that. Each individual has someone who's going to pin them. Obviously, this has been a long time coming. We haven't done swearing-in since 2020 due to COVID. As you can see, construction across the street, this has all been remodeled, so we apologize for the delay, but we're glad you're here tonight, and we're going to get everybody caught up. So without further ado, the firemen, if you guys don't mind, kind of whoever's getting promoted or sworn tonight, come up front, kind of filling both sides, and the mayor's going to do your swearing in.
You said filling both sides. Both sides. Okay.
Okay, if you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. All right, we're good now. So if you, again, continue to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio, the laws and ordinances of the Village of St. Bernard, and to the best of my ability will discharge the duties of this office as a representative of the St. Bernard Fire Department. Congratulations.
Give me 1 second. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to announce either the date they were hired or the date they were promoted. If you don't mind, just come up here. We'll call whoever's going to pin you. We'll announce that, and then we'll do it individually. Then you can go be with your family, what have you, and then we'll do the police next. So, first of all, Jonathan Goki, who was promoted to captain on April the 3rd, 2024, who's going to be pinned by his father, Gene Goki, and son Wyatt. So if you guys don't mind coming forward, you can just do it right here. How you want to do it, doesn't matter. Congratulations. Mayor. All right, next, Joe Meister, who was promoted to lieutenant on April 29th of 2024, who's going to be pinned by his wife Chelsea and family. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, next will be Eric Lett, who was hired on September 8th, 2021, and promoted to fire marshal just last week, December 9th, 2024. And he's going to be pinned by his son, Jaden. Okay, next we have Ryan Case, promoted to engineer on March the 6th, 2023. He's going to be pinned by his wife, Candace.
Thank you.
Next, we have Austin Lucan, who was hired on November the 16th, 2022, and recently promoted to engineer on September the 13th, 2024, being pinned by his wife, Tabby, and son, Colson, evidently. All right, next we have firefighter medic Casey Ballman, who was hired on May 6, 2020, and he's going to be pinned by his father, retired fire chief Greg Ballman. Next, firefighter medic Charlie Waghorn, who was also hired on May the 6th, 2020. And he's going to be pinned by, I believe, his son Wesley. Is that correct?
Yep.
Next is firefighter Ben Steppel, who I don't believe made it tonight. He was also hired on May 6th of 2020. And then we have next firefighter medic Jeffrey Martin, who was hired also on May 6th of 2020. Martini? Jeff. I say Martin, I'm sorry. Jeffrey Martini, I'm sorry.
It's okay, Chief.
I'm a little nervous. There you go. And his daughter's going to pin him. All right, I'll get this one right, I promise. Next is firefighter medic Andrew McKee, who's going to be pinned by, he was hired on August 26th of 2020 and being pinned by his daughters Maddie and Belle.
Ready? You gonna do it? You wanna do it? You want to do it? Okay. Ready? Yeah.
Don't poke yourself.
It's better me poking than them. All right, come here.
Congratulations, brother. Okay, next, firefighter EMT Cameron Young, who's hired on May 10th, 2023, and he's going to be pinned by his mother, Shannon Young. Hey, hey. Okay, next firefighter EMT Michael Matheson, who is not going to be able to make it tonight due to illness. He was hired on August the 9th, 2023. And then we have firefighter paramedic, newly promoted paramedic and valedictorian of his paramedic class, Gregory Melton, who was hired on January the 11th of 2024, who's going to be pinned by his mother, Jennifer McGinnis. All right, last but not least, firefighter EMT Joshua Coletta, who was hired on February 21st, 2024, going to be pinned by his father, Cincinnati Fire Captain Dan Coletta. Your mom and mother, sorry. Okay, that's all for the fire department. Thank you. Congratulations. He's won again.
All the policemen getting sworn in, come on up here.
Do you have anything you want to say beforehand?
No, you already did all that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll announce the names after you swear them all in.
Okay. Okay, gentlemen, if you could please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio, the laws and ordinances of the Village of St. Bernard, and to the best of my ability, will discharge the duties of this office as a representative of the St. Bernard Police Department. Congratulations.
All right, similar to the fire department, I'm going to call them in order of rank and then length of, or date of hire. So beginning with Lieutenant Shane Moore, who was promoted January 19th, 2022. He will be pinned by his son Eli. Next will be Lieutenant Alex Mathis, who was promoted January 1st, 2023, and I will do the honors. Next, promoted to Sergeant, January 1st, 2023, Mike Matheson, and I will be doing these honors. I'm a very popular guy here. They're all like kids to me. Thank you, sir. Next, promoted to Sergeant, January 1st, 2023, Mike Petrafsky. I'm in again. Oh, your son. Oh, his son Alex is going to do it. I'm out. Promoted to Sergeant, January 1st, 2023, CJ Moffitt. He will be pinned by his wife, Molly. Next will be Sergeant Robert Bass, who was hired April 26, 1923. 1923. Somehow. All right, it might have been 2023. And he was promoted November 15th, 2024. He will be pinned by his wife, Michelle. Next, hired in June 17th of 2020, Officer Lucas Barrow. He will be pinned by his wife, Jamie. Hired as patrolman, July 28th, 2021, Alex Wackendorf. Will be pinned by his girlfriend, Emily. Hired September 5th, 2022, Officer Warland Compers. I will be doing the honors. Next would have been Officer Ryan Jackson, who was unable to attend due to illness. Hired November 27th, 2022. Next, who was unable to attend, was Officer Monica Jagaditz, hired April 19th, 2023. She is currently working a detail. Next, unable to attend, Officer John Hubbard, who was hired May 22nd, 2023. And last but not least, hired May 29th of 2024, Officer James Savage, and I will be doing the honors. Yeah, bear with us.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Someone ordered this stuff.
Okay, so that concludes our swearing-in ceremony. Thank you to everyone who attended. Thank you, council and administration, for letting us do this tonight. There's light refreshments and snacks in the lobby. If you don't mind, stick around, socialize a bit. There are some folks going over to Wiedemann's, which is directly across the street, afterwards. And then anybody who was sworn in or part of the ceremony tonight, please stick around. We're going to do a photo with the council administration. So stay in this room, and everybody else can, if you don't mind, go out, and we'll meet you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Threw me a curveball. That's fine. That's cool.
You know what? There's no sense pulling up. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Let's be done with it.
I motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Morton, seconded by Mr. Edwards to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Let's have a reception here.